Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Narkani with the Expert Saturday, and we have Dr. Manjot Garcha today, who's going to talk to us about doshas and emotions live from Australia at 4 a.m., which is fantastic, right? So today we're going to talk about doshas, emotions. We're going to talk about emotional imbalances and how you can take charge of your emotions using this ancient science of Ayurveda. So I would love to give a little brief bio about Dr. Manjot. She's a very good friend. I've never met her in person, but I have these amazing women that I see on in the field of Ayurveda, and I totally adore them. I totally respect them. And Manjot has been quite active for some time, educating people about Ayurveda and really taking charge. So she's an Ayurvedic practitioner. She's also a Reiki Master, intuitive guide, and spiritual director in training. And she has a real passion for healing as well as educating. She's also the founder of Essence Ayurveda. So once again, Manjot, welcome here. It's so awesome to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's just dive directly into the topic that how do doshas relate to our emotions? We talk about doshas in terms of physicality, we talk about doshas in terms of, oh, are you thin or are you on the heavier side? But people don't talk about their emotional associations to doshas. So what's your take on it?
The way I look at the doshas are like they're what we talk about archetypes, the patterns of energy. And that is the beauty of Ayurveda, that when we look at the world through this lens, we can apply it on any level. So I've applied it on the emotional, mental, spiritual level, and we can take it out into our parenting, into relationships, into business and career. So, what happens with emotions is, as we understand that there are three main doshas, the Vat, Pitta, and Kapha, and they are a combination of the two elements each. So, there are five basic elements in Ayurveda: the space, air, fire, water, and earth. They combine together to make these doshas in the body. So, we can think of them like a physiological or a biodynamic force, right?
Mhm.
So air and space come together to bring make vata. Pitta is made by fire and water, and kapha is made by earth and water. What happens now is that these qualities, the qualities of these elements, can be seen in the doshas. So
Mhm.
when we talk about vata, we talk about movement because air brings the movement, and the space is needed for the air to move. If there's no space, movement cannot happen.
Mhm.
Wind cannot arise in vacuum, right? In the same way, the pitta talks about, we talk about the transformation, the fire, the passion. And we talk about stability and structure, cohesion in kapha, the earth and water. When we apply the same principles to the emotions, we can see that there is a shadow and a light form for all three of these.
Mhm.
When they are balanced and when they are focused, they are channeled by us in the proper way. When we understand the balancing of the physical body and the emotional body, then they become our strengths. They can help us to fulfill our purpose in life. And as we know in Ayurveda, how beautifully it is said that for the purpose of, achieving the dharma, the life's purpose, the karma, the pleasure, the aesthetic sense, and for earth, the financial or the abundance, and for moksha, enlightenment, for all of them, the basic thing that is needed is the arogyam, the to
Mhm.
be healthy. So it is not only physical health, it's the emotional health that is as important. When we understand how the doshas are influencing emotions and where with the imbalance it goes into the shadow form, into the darkness, and is causing challenges for us and obstacles for us, then we can do something about it. Till the
Mhm.
time there is an awareness, we cannot take any action on it. We have to be aware of the problem.
Mhm.
So when we look at the emotions, like with the vata, again and again in the text, it has been said that fear, grief, and worry it aggravates vata.
Mhm.
So when vata controls movement in the body, we talk about breathing in, breathing out, the digestive movement, all the movements in the body of the joints. It also brings movement in the mind.
Mhm.
Mental thoughts are moving, and we have felt that the most. So, continuous thoughts. So Sometimes people say they cannot break the thought loop. Like a thought comes in and they want to stop it, but it just doesn't stop. It keeps
Yeah.
going on. So when there is little thoughts, I look at it as a breeze. Warm vata air is blowing through, which is pleasant, having the ideas come in, having the thoughts coming. But when it goes out of control, it becomes like a tornado.
Mhm.
And that is what anxiety is. That is what panic attack is. It is that vata gone into the complete imbalance, that there is no control on the movement of thoughts, and they get up to this level that they become destructive.
Mhm.
In the same way, pitta, the fire. So as the fire in the body transforms the food we put in our mouth, it converts it into the nutrients so that the body parts can be made, the bloods, the bones, the muscles. What we put in through our senses, what we are looking at, what we are hearing, that also gets transformed by the sadhat pit in the heart. So the fire in the heart transforms it into something unique that becomes us, that becomes a part of our personality. Yeah. So, like they say, knowledge is out there, facts and figures are all out there. But when we apply them, when we make them our experience, that is when they become the wisdom. And once they become the wisdom, they are a part of us.
Mhm.
Then we can, access it at any time. So as the fire transforms, we can see fire is creating that, and fire moves upwards and is bright and shining and excited. In the same way, it is the passion in us. So we have seen some of the people who are very passionate about things, and when they start talking about it, you can see them. We literally say, "You light up when you talk about this."
Mhm.
That is their inner passion, their fire showing out to us, and their self motivation, their leadership qualities coming up. On the same side, when it goes into the shadow, like the forest fires can burn, excessive heat can burn or produce dryness. So when it gets into the burn form, it becomes anger,
Mhm.
excessive anger. So what happens? People do not realize why they are angry, but there's layers to it. When we have not channeled, when we have not tuned into what makes us joyful, what brings joy to us, and we haven't used that passion to create something, then it becomes the anger. Then it goes into the destructive side. On the other hand, it can also go into extreme dryness, which might show up as resentment,
Mhm.
the jealousy or resentment, that can be simmering frustration. And as we know, all the inflammations, itis, the arthritis, especially the joint pain, and it has been mentioned by the medical intuitives like Caroline Myss and Louis Hay, that arthritis, the pain in the joints of the body, is caused by the emotion of resentment, holding on to the resentment in the body for a long time. So
Mhm.
that excessive heat then produces dryness, which literally dries out our joints. It
Mhm.
burns away the collagen. And then there is kapha, which is earth and water. So as we see, there is, with the predominance of water, there is a flow of emotions. So whether our emotions are flowing, whatever life is bringing, how are we flowing with it? When in our day-to-day life, if we keep a tab on where our thoughts are, where our emotions are, we might realize, okay, we notice I'm happy today. I'm just flowing. Day is fluid. I can, just do this and this and this. There's no challenge, no obstacle. We just flow through life. That's the balance form. But when it is imbalanced, then the overwhelm comes.
Yeah.
Then we are like, oh my God, what is this happening? And sometimes we just, stop, and we are on the floor in a heap and crying. And I call it like a tsunami. So that is when the water element has gone completely out of control. And we go into that tsunami of either grief or sadness or overwhelm, which is impacting us. And if there is the earth, so earth, as we know, is stable structure. Like the land beneath our feet doesn't move unless it is an earthquake. So if you keep suppressing, say, I look at it like this: every time we have a interaction with someone and a emotion is produced, I call it a file. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the good files are immediately used, we are happy
Mhm.
about it. But the things that make us uncomfortable, say someone said something and we became angry or sad or annoyed, then what happens is we don't want to deal with it. We are like, oh, I don't want to think about this.
yeah,
And I say we put that file in a cabinet, right? And the cabinet has a limited capacity. So you keep putting your file every time you don't like the comfort, you put the file, you put the file, you put the file. And then there comes one day when the cabinet is stuffed. It
yeah,
can't take anymore, it's overflowing.
yeah,
And then you put one little file in there and the entire cabinet spills out.
yeah,
So many times we have seen in our relationships, when one person does something very minor, like it might be just taking up a pen and putting it in a wrong place,
yeah,
and the other person erupts like a volcano.
yeah,
And why are you reacting like this? Like it wasn't even such a big thing that I said. Why are
yeah,
you reacting so intensely? It is not that moment. It is a trigger for all those moments to just flow out.
yeah,
And that is also a form of anxiety, because then there is no space for keeping the files and they don't know how to deal with the files, and there is the overwhelm of so much backlog. It's like I've got all this emotion inside me, I don't know what to do with it, how to deal with it, and there is no emotion coming, and then the panic sets up. Then
yeah,
it becomes like I'm breathless, I can't breathe, what is happening?
yeah. So,
And yeah,
sorry,
so
no,
just one more aspect to it.
yeah, no,
Okay.
you can continue. Yeah,
And another form of earth is like underground cave going into the darkness. And like we know that kapha is parallel to, it has got the qualities of slowness. Yeah, it takes time. Like a turtle. The turtle is the perfect animal for kapha. And they have a shell. And the turtle, when it is triggered or under stress, under attack, it goes inwards. So the kapha types with earth predominance can sometimes do that. They go into depression, they go into their shell.
I just go into my shell and I just want to, sometimes when it gets too much, I'm like, okay, I want to detach with everyone. I just want to shut down my social media and just stay home, because home is like my shell. So,
Yes. So they go either underground cave or they go in their shell. And if it
yeah,
goes to the extreme that they can't come out, then we call it like depression.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for someone who's learning, because see, growing up, the problem was, whenever we expressed anger, right? Because, I work with so many parents, who are having kids now. A Vata kid is going to be very hyperactive naturally, right? They're
Yes.
not really ADD or ADHDs, but they are hyperactive naturally. And then you put some fuel to their natural fire, they're going to go crazy, spinning around and spinning around. The same with pitta, right? Like kids are reactive. I was very reactive as a kid. I am like a kapha pitta combination, but I would always question like why. I'm not going to take your things unless they relate to me. And the same with kapha. They have tenacity, they have resilience, but they're also very stubborn, right?
Yeah.
So how do you help like ask like your clients, or even process these emotions that we've been taught to shut down, we've never been taught to acknowledge, and we look at certain emotions as a dark emotion, right? But the fact is they're also facts of life. Like you are going to be angry, you're going to be sad, you're going to be anxious. So how do you help your clients, how do you help your patients work with this and deal with this?
Yeah. So there are two lines of answers to this. One is what you talked about the children. And I love this topic because I talk to the parents like yourself, like all the time. And understanding when the Vata child, we understand their Vata type, we know they love movement, they love
Yeah,
creativity, and they need grounding and stillness.
yeah,
So using the small frequent meal plan, doing the daily oil massage, encouraging them to sit still for a while, but using music and dance and painting. So for the
okay.
Vata type child, create a painting corner, allow them to paint. Or if
Mhm.
they like singing or dancing, encourage them to sing or dance. What happens then? They use their excessive energy in that, like I said, focused, channeled form, which is like adding to their personality rather than creating the tornadoes. And then they have used that energy and they can be happy about it. In
Mhm.
the same way with the pitta, I always say for pitta, use your hands in some form, create something, even if it's cutting the paper and gluing it. I always give these children projects. I say, next week you come to me, you have to bring me something, because fire is proud. Yeah, fire wants to show off. So if they make something with their hands and they have it in physical thing, like with vata, their music and singing, it's okay. But if pitta types have it in their hands, something creative, I made this, then that channels their anger in a positive way.
Mhm.
And same for the kapha, they have a tendency to be sad. So we know that they need physical activity. So encouraging them to move around a lot and being in nature. Nature is the best friend of kapha types. They love being in nature. So encouraging them for the walks and things like that. Now, then it comes to all of us, regardless of what body type we are all humans and we all have that basic need for love and acceptance. And we all go through sadness and anger and frustration at different times. First thing is letting go of the labels, letting go of the judgment. There is no right or wrong, there is no good or bad, everything just is.
Mhm.
And like Byron Katie says in her book, stop arguing with reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the understanding for us now as a parent. It's our responsibility too to understand that these emotions will show up. And like I say to my children, it's okay to be sad. If you're feeling sad, you need to cry, it's okay, I'm holding you. And after a few minutes they're all right. Or if they're angry, I say it's okay to be angry. You can stamp your feet or you can scream out loud, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, what I look upon is, like, there's a thermometer, there's hot and cold.
Mhm.
And what is cold is absence of heat. But it is
Mhm.
the same barometer. It's like either a degrees up or a degrees low. In
Mhm.
the same way, there is an emotional barometer, and the two ends are love and fear.
Mhm.
So, what is fear? Fear is absence of love. Wherever we are not feeling loved, either by ourselves or by others, that is when the anger or the sadness or the fear that will show up. Because if remember, when we are filled with love, when we remember we are spending time with our loved ones, we are enjoying it, there is no negative emotion. Negative
Yeah.
emotion comes when we are triggered. When someone
Mhm.
says something or does something, we get triggered. And to that, even there is a reason for the trigger. If it is not within me, I wouldn't be triggered. Say
Yeah.
if there is a lady who is conscious about her body weight, and she has got nice long black hair and she's walking down the street, and some random person comes up and says to her, you've got green hair. She wouldn't react to that. She would be like, you're blind, get your eyes tested. Or like, I know
Yeah.
my hair is black, right?
Yeah.
And there is no emotional charge there. She won't even take it, it's bounced off. But if that person says, oh, you're looking overweight, or you're fat, or hey fatso, some form of that, because she is conscious of her body weight, she might not even be fat, mind you. But if she has this belief about herself that I'm overweight, and a person comes and says that, that will trigger, that will bring the emotional reaction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That that's a great example. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is within us is the only thing that will be triggered. And when we look at the barometer, the most deepest one is the fear. We actually use the terms frozen with fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, and it's the intense, that darkness. So, there are qualities to doshas. I will assign these qualities to fear and love. Fear is like cold, heavy, and constricted. Whatever makes you feel small, heavy, or cold, or frozen feet, frozen body, that is fear. And the opposite, whatever makes you feel warm, mushy, expansive, and light. Remember, when we are in love, we just float around the day. So when you feel light and warm and expansive, that is love. So that is our barometer. And whenever we check what that we are not in that state, we can remind ourselves to come back to that state.
Mhm.
And it is all a science, because when we look at the world from the eyes of quantum physics, as we know, everything is made of atoms, and atom is 99.9% empty space. It is an
Mhm.
electromagnetic signature, right? So what happens? I take you into a room filled with 100 strangers. You know no one. You know nobody's name, nobody's occupation, nothing. But looking at those 100 people, you will see one person and you'll be like, I have a connection with you. It feels like I've known you forever. Yeah.
Mhm.
And for another person, you might feel, I don't want to be near that person, I don't even want to talk to them. That is our electromagnetic frequency recognizing their electromagnetic frequency. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like we connected over the internet so far
Yeah.
away, and yet feeling like we have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
So the thoughts and the feelings that are generated are also a frequency. And this is our work, to be aware of what is the quality of our thoughts, because that will impact our feelings, that will impact the emotions, that will impact the triggers. And that is what meditation is. People think meditation is doing. Meditation is sitting in stillness and doing a visualization and doing a breathing, and I have to do meditation. No. Meditation is simply awareness. Meditation is being. It is
Mhm.
being aware of what is happening inside me, going inwards and feeling into your body and feeling, okay, what is the quality of thoughts? Are there too many thoughts coming? What are the thoughts coming? Are they bringing up fear in me, or are they bringing up love and inspiration in me?
Mhm.
So our work in that emotional trigger zone is to identify when we have been triggered, that it is something inside us. It's not coming from outside.
Mhm.
So I could go down the other rabbit hole of the shadow archetypes like Caroline Miss talks about, but we'll leave it for another day. And but just that victim mentality of putting the blame everything outside, but letting go of it and saying, okay, if I am getting angry, so what happens now with the meditation, we are creating a response time. Usually things happen in life, we react.
Mhm.
With meditation, we bring so much awareness that when it comes in, we have time to process it and we respond. Rather than reacting to it, we start responding to it.
It's beautifully said. Yeah.
So yeah, what was the original thought? We were talking about how to deal with all these emotions.
Yeah, how to deal with for somebody who's not used to acknowledging or who's not used to identifying, because sometimes you work with clients and they're not, the awareness is not there, right? So as you said, the first thing is you have to cultivate this awareness that okay, I have emotions, right? The other part sometimes I see is people take pride in being angry. I used to, like, I think that's the way I was brought up. I'm angry. I used to be happy that I'm an angry or a reactive person. I don't feel like that anymore. But we identify with the negativity of it, but the same thing you can channelize it towards a lot more constructive. Like the energy is going to be there for sure,
Yes.
but you can use it in a positive or negative way. So how do you develop that awareness? Like, do you have any practices that somebody, you talk about meditation, and I know you're into a lot of spiritual healing and working with lots of different people on the energetic realm, right? So is there any practice where you can start developing awareness? Is there a specific kind of meditation you work with, or for somebody who has no idea, how do they
Yeah.
get started on this journey?
Yeah. So there are a couple of things they can do. One is the writing, the journal writing. So people have called it by morning pages or expression. Journal writing is a very wonderful tool. So for someone who has no idea about anything, they can keep a anger journal. Say they are angry all the time. They can keep a notebook with them. And every time they are angry, they train themselves to just go and write in the notebook. Yes. And then you write it down, what's happening, what is making you angry, and then just explore what else is showing up. Write down all your thoughts on the paper, and by the time you are done writing, you will find the anger is gone. It
Mm-hmm.
has come down, because we are creating that response time between what has happened. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So say a couple are having an argument and the wife is angry, and the wife can go into the other room and write everything down in a diary, and in the process of writing we have already dissipated the energy. Like I said, anger has been turned into creative force by writing. They have created the
Yeah,
writing.
yeah.
So that can be done. And the journal writing can be used to explore, like, okay, what do I need, what do I want? This will create a deeper connection with what is happening. Or they can write a feelings journal. How am I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Or they can write down about the three main emotions they felt in the day. How was my day? What was the three things that that have come to my attention. If they're not tuned into the emotion, I remember ages ago I had a male client and I asked him, "How are you feeling?" And he's like, "Yeah, I took my dog for a walk." Like, awesome. How do you interpret that? So people have a disconnect, but in the process of writing, it starts bringing a clarity
Mhm.
that at least they are putting it in words.
Yeah.
Because, like I said in the cabinet example, so many words are trapped inside us. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think it's all that suppression that's causing so much hypothyroidism, the
Yeah.
throat chakra
Yeah.
imbalance everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's
100%.
yeah. So it's that suppression, and it's a wonderful tool. And whatever you are afraid of, or angry about, or sad about, you can write it down. If you want to take it one step further, you can write it down and burn it. So I have worked with clients who had anger with a parent, and sometimes the parent had passed on, and there was no way to resolve it. So I asked them to write a letter to the parent and express everything they need to express and burn it, and that helps to let go. Like I said, it's a vibrational frequency. If you haven't dealt with it, it's sitting in there in your
Yeah.
body. So when you put it on paper, you have released it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use journal writing in a million ways to explore different aspects, but a good way to start is just to write what's happening and what the thoughts in your mind are, what you are thinking.
That's beautifully said. Yeah, no, that's pretty amazing. So, regarding the meditation, is there a recommendation to sit with yourself on a daily basis for somebody who's starting out, or should they like maybe do it once a week, or for an absolute beginner, how does the process look like?
Yes. See, that is the beauty of meditation. You can do every time you sit, you can do it in a different way. So I do live meditation on my Facebook group every day, and every day it's different. But there are a few basic things. So what happens, you can choose the style of meditation based on your body type. Here again,
Mhm,
the body type comes to help us in the spiritual realm, in the spirituality, in which element is in predominance in our body. So say you are vata body type, you know it's movement, it's air. For them
mhm.
to say sit down in stillness, even they can't sit for 1 minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, they will like itch and move and shift. They can't sit. Let's
yeah,
take it, right? So if they try to force themselves to sit in stillness for an hour or 30 minutes, that's pure torture. That is not going to give any benefit at all. So understanding that, bringing the movement. So what they can do is chanting. They can choose a mantra or affirmation, and they can repeat that in their mind. That will keep their conscious mind, the air of the conscious mind, busy there, so that they can settle into themselves.
mhm,
Yeah. And if they don't want to use chanting or affirmation, simple, and we have heard this many times, counting backwards from 100. So you sit there and you just start counting 100, and you take a breath 99, and a breath 98. And if you lose count, you start back from 100. So what happens in the beginning, you will lose count at 80, and then you will get to 50, and then you will be super alert, because when you have gone to 40 and 50, you don't want to go back to 100 to count again.
yeah.
So that creates a conscious space inside you, where you are inside you and you're counting and paying attention to something. You're staying focused. So
Mhm,
chanting is a very good way. If you have adequate space and opportunity, the movement, the dance is also a form of meditation, like we have seen with Sufi dancers. The
mhm.
beautiful way they just,
Yeah.
twirl around in that form. So it is creating movement in the body. So for Vata, movement is important. Now, what happens when they are twirling around? They have moved and moved and moved, and they have taken that Vat, the air, to the peak. They have honored its natural need for movement. They've brought
Mhm,
it to a peak, and then they can fall down in like just stillness.
mhm.
So you can dance around before doing the meditation. If you're Vata type, do a small dance, or just stand there and move your body in whatever way feels right. And once you have danced, then you can sit down and you will find the stillness will come easier.
That's beautiful suggestion.
So they can use the creative forms of music, or music is good, they can put on the music and listen to it. That will come naturally. So they're listening to the chants or the music. Guided visualizations are good because Vata are very creative. They can visualize the things very quickly. And breathing, the pranayams. So again, main the vata is the breathing, inhaling and exhaling. If you don't want to do anything else, just following the path of the breath. When you breathe in, just notice that it's going deep and allow it to go into the belly, your belly button, navel, and then breathing out. So
Mhm.
just in the process of breathing, what you are doing is you so I like to say it is like, when we were in the forests ages ago. This is the human body response that a lion comes, we go into that fight and flight mode, the stress. All the
Mhm.
glucose is being released, cortisol is being released. We are ready to fight, and there's no time for healing or making new body tissue. We have to run, right? It's survival mode. Now we have got the lions in our minds. It might be a boss, it might be work, it might be a partner or children. The lion is constantly in the room with us 24 hours. So there's
Yeah.
no opportunity for us to come back to the healing mode. When we close our eyes and take deep breaths, we actually send a signal to the entire body. The parasympathetic nervous system is awakened, and we're sending to signal to the body that this is healing time. I am safe. There's no
Mhm.
need to run away right now, so you can do the healing work.
Mhm.
And this is why meditation is so effective in reducing the effects of the stress and helping with so many chronic lifestyle diseases, because as we know, most of these diseases are a result of the stress we are taking.
Yeah.
And there's no time for the body to heal. But when we have closed our eyes, taken a nice deep breath, we have said to the body, you are safe, let's heal. And the body goes into that healing mode. So breathing will come naturally to the Vata type because they love that movement. They can, if they don't want to do the dancing, they can just do the breathing.
Mhm.
Another thing that I find is that the karma yoga, like we talk about the acts of service, and we have
Mhm.
seen it a lot in India, like in the Sikh temples or Hindu temples, sweeping the floor and washing the dishes in the temple, cooking the food. So acts of service are also a form of meditation. You can, if it's a part, like you don't have to go to a temple. You can do your dishes, you can do the mopping of your floor, but you do it with an awareness, as if you are honoring the divine within and doing that work. Say, I'm doing it for you, God. I'm doing this cleaning for you. And do it with that. That also becomes a meditation.
Yeah.
And
This
walking
is something.
meditation.
It's interesting you say that. I'm not big on dishes. Like I've never been big on doing dishes ever in my life. So I cook. I can cook for like a million people. I never stress about cooking because that's like my release. But since COVID, it's been like really weird that I've been doing a lot of dishes.
That's good. You can transform that into a meditative experience.
Yeah, yeah. Channelizing, I think, my vata in the right way, or that nervous energy that's picking up in the right way by just doing the dishes. So it's amazing. We have some, viewers online, so I can see Shonchita, I can see Usha ji, Uttam ji. Uttam ji is saying express, don't suppress, which is really great. So if any of our listeners, and viewers, if you have questions for Dr. Manjot, you can always put it in the comment section, and she's just amazing. So I'm sure she'll answer all your questions. So let's talk about pittas. I'm excited for the pitta and kapha part. So how do we meditate now?
Yeah. So as we know, pitta, the fire, and the pittas are logical. They need the logic behind everything. They need that understanding. So if I say to a pitta type person, you need to close your eyes and take deep breaths and do this for 20 minutes every day, they won't do it.
Mhm.
They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. But when I've given them the explanation I have given earlier about the stress response and how it is stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, then they will sit and do it. Then they will apply themselves completely to it. Yes.
Mhm.
So for the pitta, the knowing, the understanding has to come before the meditation comes. They can't go into meditation. They won't be able to channel their energy, focus their energy like that. If they have read material on it, if they have an explanation of the process of how it works, then they can do it.
This is amazing, because even for me with exercising, I do something called Tabata exercises, which is like, you're sprinting between 30 to 40 seconds of exercise and 10-second breaks. And every time I used to go to my trainer, I would tell him like, I need to see it. I need to do it in my head first, and then I'll do it physically. I'm not doing it otherwise. And it makes so much sense, because it has to appeal to your intellect, and then people can really sit down and meditate because they don't have doubt. They're not battling with that self doubt or doubt about the process. So Uttam ji is asking, Manjot ji, where are you located?
I am in Melbourne, Australia. But as we know, there's no time and space. Everything
Yeah,
is connected.
yeah, yeah. And what about the kafas?
We haven't finished with Pitta yet.
Oh, cool, cool.
So they need to have a bit of a introduction to why they are doing what they are doing. Like we explained the barometer of fear and love, we said everything is a vibration. So when we give them the tool of a beautiful practice called heart congruence, it's been developed by the Heart Math Institute in America, then they know what they are doing. So, heart congruence is a practice that is recommended for everyone. It takes 1 minute of your time, but if you do it, you can prevent aging and you can be more youthful and happy. And it is a simple technique. It is like you can use either two fingers of your hand or the hand and just put it on the heart. You focus on your heart, and then you close down your eyes, deepen your breathing, going into that parasympathetic mode, and just breathing in, breathing out, and your complete awareness on your heart. And now bring to your mind a memory that puts a smile on your face. A really happy time, joyful time when you were filled with gratitude. And it can be a person or a place or a thing, but sometimes it's just a beautiful sunrise we have witnessed, or the beautiful blooming of the flowers. You can already feel that. I can feel your energy expanding and releasing. That's it. That's all that's needed. As simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
But
That
this
was beautiful.
practice can help. And many times, like when you are in any overwhelming thing, you just simply need to put your hand there and you're reminded of the joy.
Mm-hmm.
So they can then change the vibration easily. Then they will do the heart congress. If I say, oh, you just need to breathe and put a hand on your heart, that wouldn't work for with that type.
Yeah.
And another thing, way of doing meditation is because meditation is about creating awareness, right? So what they works well for them is introspection and contemplation.
Mm-hmm.
So their meditation changes. They can go into introspection. This thought, the thought crosses and like, what is deeper? What is beneath this thought? What is the layer next to it? Yeah. So there are always layers. Like we have conscious, subconscious, and collective unconscious mind. A friend invites you for a cup of tea and you don't want to go, but you say yes. So in the conscious mind is the thought, I don't want to go, but I don't want to upset her. So I'll go. I can't say no. And deeper than that in the subconscious is, I don't want her to not like me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want her to stop being with me because I said no. And then on a deeper subconscious might be the fear of rejection or fear of abandonment. So there are so many layers to one single thought that is happening. And when the pitta types can go deep into the, because they love the logical reasoning part, it's easier for them to connect the dots in that field. That okay, what is beneath this? This thought came, or this situation is there. What is deeper? What is happening for me? They can do that introspection, or they can do contemplation. They can do contemplation on like, what does expansion feel like? What is forgiveness? Or what is the part of me that is divine? There's a part of me that is divine God, and let me just see if I can connect with it. That gives them the work. Their mind loves this kind of meditation. So for the pitta type, I say they are the jnana yogis. They have to engage in that intellectual conversation before doing it, and we know wonderful jnana yogis who have achieved it. So that is the pitta for you.
Mm-hmm.
Any
That's
questions,
amazing.
or we can move on to the kapha?
No, we can move on to the kappa. I'm excited for that too.
Yeah. So kapha, you have to decide whether you are more a water element or more earth element, which has the more presence. And we talked about the flow. Now let's talk about the earth. For kapha, going into stillness is easy. That's why most of the kaphas are called, like, couch potatoes, lazy. So stillness comes naturally to them. They don't want to move. If you put them in one place, they're happy to sit there. Now I call it a dead stillness and a living stillness. The dead stillness is the stillness of a stone, a rock that has been sitting on the surface on the earth for ages, and there is
Mhm,
no transformation happening. It is just sitting there.
mhm,
Yeah, that is the risk. That is the challenge that kapha types have to be aware of, because what they can do is the ego mind can trick them that they're sitting in meditation for 3 hours, and then that pride comes up. Oh, I do meditation every day. But is there a transformation happening, or are you sitting dead like stone, just spending 3 hours sitting there and no transformation, no growth happening in there?
yeah.
Yeah, and that is related to the tamasic kapha. But in the sattvic kapha, what happens? It's a alive stillness. Like you have planted a seed under the earth, and that seed is growing. It is changing. It is getting ready to burst open and send its shoots upward to the earth. From the outside, when you look, you don't see anything. You're not
Mm,
seeing what's happening underground, because it will take a while for that seed to show up above the earth. But under the earth, when it is planted, life is happening, creation is happening. That is the living transformation. That
mhm,
is the kind of stillness the kapha has to be aware of. That, am I growing with this, or am I just sitting?
mhm,
Yeah. Another thing that is beautiful with kapha types is because they are empaths, they have this beautiful, big, caring hearts, caring, nurturing nature. Devotion comes easily to them. So for
mhm.
them, acts of service, I'll have to move. Thinking too much about deep into stuff, I am not for this. But feeling the love, awesome. So the kirtan is the best meditation for the kapha type, because they can tune into that love in their heart, and they can allow it to flow in the form of devotion, of chanting and praying to the divine.
Beautiful.
So they have to connect with the feelings.
Mhm,
So vata has to connect with the action, pitta has to connect with the intellect, but the kapha has to connect with the feeling.
mhm.
How are they feeling, and bringing up that love, that joyfulness, because that is what's the motivating force for the kapha. And the same thing, the flow, the flow of the water, like the river flows, and whatever anyone puts in the river takes it. So for the kapha, it's very important to have those emotional boundaries, because they are such a big empaths. What happens is they take on everyone's stuff.
Mhm.
So when they go into a room, they feel someone is sad, they will start feeling sad. They really feel for the people. And
Yeah.
the risk of that is there is a difference between sympathy and empathy. So you can feel for them, yes, hold the compassion. And compassion comes naturally for kapha type. They're just compassionate beings. But don't make it yours. Don't take that burden on yourself. Because
Yeah.
usually with kapha type, what will happen? They will be standing quietly in a shopping center doing their work. Random people will come and tell them their whole story, like what's happening, and walk away, and they are feeling amazing. And you're like, what happened?
Oh yeah, totally been there. I know. I know how it feels. People tell you all sorts of things and you're like, okay, oh my God. And then you sit with it and you think about it. And I call kafa sponges. We're like soaking everything, right?
Yes,
So yeah.
yes. So they have to be very mindful. Unless you know what is yours, you can't know what is the other person's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there is a room filled with lot of clutter, say a lot of books, and I put one more book in or two more books in, you don't know who those books belong to. You don't even know that's there. You just see the pile of books. So
Yeah.
that is with the cover. If they can know what is theirs, then it's easy to set the healthy boundaries. Then they don't have to take other stuff. So for them, sitting in meditation is connecting with their heart, with their feeling. How am I feeling? Am I
Mhm.
feeling angry or sad or fearful? And then whatever they are feeling, give it a physical location. Does it feel like a tightness in my chest? Does it feel like a heaviness on my head? Is it like a churning feeling in my belly? When they have given it a location, they can give it a number. Okay, on a
Mhm.
scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most intense, I'm feeling a churning in my belly. That is number 10. This is how much fear I have. And then just breathing, and then again going into the heart congruence, bringing up that joyful, that love, that gratitude, and then changing it. That will just lift the vibration off.
Mhm.
So for Kapha, I say Bhakti Yoga. They need the Bhakti Yoga.
What do you do when you're a combination of both Pitta and Kapha?
You can see, this is what I say, the flow within the structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have a structure of, I will sit every day for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And especially for kaphas, it's very important. For kaphas, in their mind, it's like it's a 4 hours job and they need to have everything there, and they never find that 4 hour chunk in their day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you say to them, you just spend 20 minutes every day on this, they go for 20 minutes and then they can like do an hour. That's no problem. The problem is getting started. I
Yeah.
call it like the boulder, you have to get it uphill first. And then when you push it, it just, smashes all the obstacles in
Mhm.
the way. It's rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the covers, we have to convert all the potential energy into the kinetic energy. We just have to
Yeah.
get them started. Having that structure, okay, every day I will spend this amount of time on my daily devotion, whatever you want to call it. And then you sit it, you can have a combination of practices. Yeah. So, like sometimes what I will do is I will sit in stillness for 20 minutes or till it feels right. Then I'll do my prayer, like the Japji Sahib, and do my chants, and then do my mala. And then if I feel the need to move the body, I'll go into the yoga poses in that. Or there are so many other practices you can do, or you can have journal around you and write. Pick up the few, pick up what calls to you, have it
Mhm.
there, and in those 45 minutes, just say, I have to do anything out of these. I can do either focus on one or I can do a combination. So you are
Mhm.
sitting in stillness and you get bored, you can put in the headphones and listen to the chants, you can listen to the music.
Yeah.
Remember the main idea is to cultivate awareness. Don't get
Yeah.
carried away with the what am I doing. Stay
Yeah.
focused on the intention of what you are doing.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was beautiful. That was really amazing. And I'm sure everyone who's here has learned a lot. So for all our viewers, if you have any questions, you can definitely post it in the comment section. And Dr. Manjot will be more than happy to answer. So yeah. No, this is really, amazing. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I love the fact that, you just define one word for each of the doshas. There's action, there's intellect, and then there's feelings. And as long as you connect with those, even if you understand your core word, right? Even being a dual dosha, if you understand what it is that you require, because with me, I love painting, I love creativity. And that's one of my biggest releases. And I think because of the kind of lifestyle I have or the kind of things I keep putting out, there's also a lot of vata getting manifested when you're doing too many things, right? So that's when I can kind of connect to the creative piece and just let myself, flow with it. So it's beautiful. I absolutely love the information you've shared, and it's so true, for each and every dosha. It's pretty amazing.
And it's the pathway, like I said, every human being feels those same emotions. In
Yeah,
the same way, I say it's a journey to a x location. Yeah.
yeah,
And these pathways are based on where you are,
yeah,
how much time, energy, resources you have. Someone
yeah,
will decide to walk there because they want to
yeah,
walk. Someone will decide to take a bus. Someone will decide to take a aeroplane ride. Someone
yeah,
will decide to take a boat. Everyone will go at their own speed and the path which suits them. In the
yeah,
end, the destination is the same for all of us. It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
matter which pathway we are following. We are
yeah,
following it because it's coming naturally to us.
yeah,
So, like the fish take to the water, they will swim the most easiest. That's the
yeah,
easiest, quickest pathway for them to get there. But remember, in the end, we are all getting to that only one point, to
yeah.
that knowingness of ourselves.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Manjot. It was truly a pleasure to have you and hoping to do more lives with you. And I absolutely love your work. I love your meditations. Whenever I can, I hop into your group. And if you can share with our listeners, the name of your group, or if you can even post the link here,
Yes.
that would be fantastic. So people can also experience meditations with you, which I have done quite a few times. And your meditations are really beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure talking about it.
Bye for now, and all the listeners. So next week, right, we have another expert, and next week we're going to talk about yoga nidra. So we have Joey Bujold from Canada. I hope I'm getting his name right because I'm always messing up someone's last name, with the different pronunciations, right? But we have Joey who's going to talk to us about yoga nidra and how it can help you balance. So we are talking about emotions this week, and this month pretty much the theme is about emotions, and that's going to help us understand a little bit more and help you develop your own practice as well. Thanks once again, Dr. Manjot. It's a true pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.